Clarets ran out 2-1 winners in a trip down to Dorset where they faced off against Weymouth. Goals in the first half from Reece Grant and Bradley Ash were cancelled out by a late winner from Simeon Jackson. The hosts went into this game off the back of a 2-0 win in the Dorset Senior Cup against Dorchester, but before that had gone 3 losses in their last 5 league games against Ebbsfleet, Taunton and Dulwich. Back at the Melbourne when the teams faced off earlier in the season, a Tom Blackwell double before Blair pulled one back for the hosts, followed by a Callum Jones 95th minute goal, wrapping up all 3 points. Weymouth will have considered themselves unlucky to have not taken an early lead in the tie after O'Connell was sent in down behind the right hand side of the Clarets. Under pressure from Frankie Terry, he squared the ball across to Akeem Rose, who fired the ball into the face of Eddie Beach, making the save and causing a corner. The resulting corner put in from the near side by O'Connell, cleared initially by Claret skipper Dave Winfield, was eventually recycled back out to corner taker O'Connell, who took on Arjnet Krasniki, made his way into the box, fired at goal, forcing Eddie Beach into a fantastic diving stop to put the ball out behind for another corner. The Clarets ended up taking the lead just before the half-an-hour mark. An Uala goal kick headed back long upfield by Dave Winfield. It wasn't cleared properly by the Weymouth man, who saw Callum Jones pick up the ball, nod it on for Reece Grant to slip underneath the goalkeeper and into the back of the net. A really tidy finish from the young man, who had now scored 3 goals in 6 appearances from the Clarets, punishing Weymouth for their mistakes. The Clarets were able to celebrate taking the lead, but were straight under the cosh again from kick-off as the ball was played long forward up the pitch by left-back Francis onto the head of Barnum Bob. Barnum Bob's header could only find O'Connell, who ran forward and slipped the ball in, which ended up with Rose forcing Eddie Beach into a fantastic diving save to his right-hand side, digging the ball out from underneath him. The Clarets again would come forward in the way of Callum Jones, spraying a delightful ball out to Edwino Vaz. Edwino Vaz testing the palms of Weymouth goalkeeper Zaki Uala, keeping the score at 1-0. O'Connell would come again down the Clarets' right-hand side, putting a testing ball in that the Clarets weren't quite able to clear, eventually the ball falling out to the number 5, the centre half, who fed it back out to that man O'Connell, who was causing many a problem in the first half, and then a looping header from the Weymouth number 11, Bradley Ash, levelling play up just 11 minutes after City had taken the lead in this one. Into the second half, it were the hosts that would look to try and test the Clarets' defence again, with Akeem Rose once again being involved, cutting in from the right hand side and firing at goal, but could only divert his effort past the post of Eddie Beach. A bit of link up play from winger Tom Blackwell and Edwino Vaz saw the ball be put into the box underneath the foot of Reece Grant. The ball fell out to Arjnet Krasniki, who looked to fire at goal, but his effort was blocked by the Weymouth defence. Akeem Rose once again involved here for the hosts as he looked to cut in off the right hand side, firing a venomous effort towards goal, held really well by the Chelsea loanee Eddie Beach. A long free kick up the field from the Weymouth goalkeeper saw the ball land with Rose, who knocked it into the striker. The ball continued to ping around in the penalty area. The Clarets doing all they could to get bodies in the way. Edwino Vaz, Frankie Terry, and then a couple of fantastic blocks from Clarets skipper Dave Winfield to force a corner for the hosts. It was deja vu for the Clarets in the dying embers of the game. A long ball kicked forward by Weymouth goalkeeper Zaki Uala, headed back forward by Dave Winfield towards Callum Jones. A long ball over the top towards Cale da Costa, a slip from the defender. Cale, at the second time of asking, picked out Simeon Jackson, who buried his effort. Jackson still had a lot to do after being fed the ball by Cale da Costa. That slip from Francis proving pivotal, allowing Cale to have a shot the first time, trying to beat the onrushing Zaki Uala. He then squared the ball to Simeon Jackson, who with men retreated on the line, had a lot to do still to be able to score, but managed to do so. Weymouth would finish the game with 10 men after a second yellow card offence from midfielder Scott Rees, but it was the Clarets who would run out winners as the full-time whistle sounded to bring the end of the game.